All righty, welcome to another glorious edition of the PA High School Football Report. We are sponsored by OSS Health and powered by PennLive. Eric Epler alongside Daniel Sostek from the bowels of HQ, somewhere in the Mechanicsburg Metroplex. Yeah, we don't want to give out the address. We don't know. We don't all the fans rushing.
We actually work out of a giant van
down by the river.
Yeah, we're in various places throughout the day.
Yeah, it's a gloomy, glorious Tuesday morning here. Week 9 of the football season, obviously fast approaching, and we're going to peek into the District 3 power ratings. We told you 2 weeks ago we will revisit them. It is now time to revisit with 2 weeks left in the regular season. Right now on PennLive, if you missed it this morning, and if you're not up at the crack of dawn, like I'm usually not, early this morning, I put up a post about who's in for the Mid-Penn Conference, who's on the bubble, who needs help. Some scenarios for each classification is there. So if you want to check that out, fantastic. If not, we're going to go through most of it here in a little bit. But first, I wanted to give my colleague a chance to weigh in on the big news on Sunday, also known as the firing of James Franklin, since everybody has weighed in. From Michelin star chefs to Canadian journalists to everybody in between. Yep. Everybody's weighed in on the James Franklin situation. So I wanted to give you your shot here. We'll time you. We don't want to drag this on too much.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been like gung ho about James Franklin as a football coach.
True.
But I also am kind of thinking that I think this is an extremely risky move for Penn State, and I think I tweeted I simultaneously understand why they did it and think it could really blow up in their face. I think he's sort of become the victim of his own success of floor raising Penn State to the point where now the floor is no longer an acceptable outcome, and
right.
I don't know if that floor is a guarantee with every coach you're going to hire here. But it seems like the alumni don't care about the floor. They want the ceiling. And they're going to be hunting the big ceiling. It's going to be interesting to watch because you have to remember what Penn State was before, in between kind of the Franklin and the 80s and 90s. But the 2000s of Penn State were not the best at times. You had the Orange Bowl trip, but
right.
They looked, I've said it before, they looked very similar to what like hit under Pat Narduzzi, to put it mildly. And if Penn State does not want to get back there, because then you're going to start hunting for the floor that James Franklin provided. So I respect the boldness of the move because, sometimes you do just have to listen to what your fan base wants. And this is what the fan base and the donors, I'm assuming, that's probably what drove it, wanted. But looking like now Pat Narduzzi is the highest paid public.
He is. Well earned, too. Yeah. I like Pat. Yeah. You got to like Narduzzi in his own, slanted way.
Yeah. They could not find more two different, I think, football coaches.
Listen, he came down a few years ago. He was the keynote speaker for Mr. P football thing, and I got a chance to sit with him for like 20 minutes alone in a boardroom. And it was some of the most fun 20 minutes I've had interviewing anybody. I think we talked about everything but football, to be honest with you. So I'm a fan of Coach Narduzzi. I'm only going to say this, even though the Palmyra Gettysburg's matinee on Saturday lasted 3 hours. And
I could not believe your score when you were tweeting that, because Palmyra's every other game's like 8-6 with them. And then
I know, it was just, everybody, it was just a total offensive shootout.
Yeah.
43-35 ender for Palmyra. Great win for them. But I was able to still make it home from Fredericksburg. They played at Northern Lebanon High School for the second half of the Penn State game. And I'll say this. I watched college football all my life, loved it. I have never seen what would be considered, quote unquote, a top football program like Penn State. I've never seen a team more confused or dazed, lethargic, whatever you want to call it. There was zero passion on anybody on that field. And obviously it was a continuation of what being a disappointing loss to UCLA the week before, and of course, Oregon 2 weeks before that. But if you're going to talk And this is why I think this was the absolute right move.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to talk about being an elite program and competing annually for college football national titles
Mm-hmm.
in a cutthroat business, and that's exactly what college football is now, especially with NIL and obviously the open market portal. So you got to make cutthroat decisions like an elite franchise. And obviously that's what Kraft did, and Penn State chose to move on. Big parting gift. It was a big parting gift for Coach Franklin, who he did. He won a lot of football games, but that product on the field was just completely unacceptable by all those people who pay thousands of thousands each weekend to go up and tailgate and buy tickets and $100 parking passes and do all those things. It's just, I never thought I would say Penn State played without passion,
Mm-hmm.
but that was glaring to me.
Yeah.
Absolute glaring to me. And it's strange because we haven't known Penn State to ever be that.
Yeah.
Even in losses, tough losses to Michigan, Ohio State's through the years under Franklin.
Yeah, you don't usually see.
We didn't see that.
You don't usually see a running back running through untouched multiple times on have-to-have-it plays.
Yeah, you just didn't see that. I know some guys were out. Okay, maybe
that's not an excuse against
Northwestern. It's just it can't be an excuse. Maybe you're 10-2. You figure, we can't beat UCLA. We're probably not going to beat Ohio State. We're probably not going to go to the CFP. But all those things can't matter when you step on the field. And it seemed like everything just came to a head. So I think the move had to be made, and
he'll be fine. I mean, he's making a lot of money now. He'll make a lot of money in a while. And
I think his future will be shored up within, I don't know.
Probably by the end of this podcast.
Yeah, by the end of the podcast, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he's that valuable as a coach, a figurehead, and obviously a leader of a program. So he's going to resurface very, very quickly. Yeah. Okay, that said, let's get it out of the way. Let's head to. We're going to talk just a couple games. Dan and I covered over Friday or Saturday, or actually Thursday. It was a Thursday game too.
Yeah.
A little Milton Hershey action.
Yep.
Henry Hershey Field. That was fun. So, but Dan, we'll start with your game. Bishop McDevitt now 6 in a row for the Crusaders. After the 0-2 start, they came up with a double-digit win, obviously, with Central Dauphin.
Yeah, it wasn't a double-digit win for most of the game, though. They were down 14-0 early. It was funny. I talked to Coach Jeff Wechter after the game, and he said, he kind of figured this was going to be a tougher game than people thought. He said, these kids don't really realize it, but when he arrived at McDevitt Central Dauphin was the premier rivalry.
Massive. It was massive.
It was a huge game, and it's kind of faded now because of the moving divisions and Central Dauphin being a little, down on its luck. But Central Dauphin comes out, 80-yard touchdown first play. And then Wechter also said he knew an onside kick was coming, but he didn't know how they were going to kick it. And they kicked it the right way because they recovered the onside kick, go down, score again on a 4th down, 14-0. And then it looks like McDevitt takes control, goes up 21, it goes up 7 at the break. But then Central Dauphin comes back, ties the game at 21-21 in the third. And then I think the biggest play of the game was Jerome Lurie Jr. ensuing kick after the tie game. Returns at 75 yards to the house on a pop-up kick, which you should not be able to return 75 yards to the house.
No.
But when you have that kind of speed, Baylor offered him this week. So that kind of tells you the type of speed he has when you're getting Baylor offers in Harrisburg, PA. But and basically, McDevitt started to realize the way to win the game. Central Dauphin loading up in the middle, making sure they couldn't run up the middle with Nazir Jones-Davis. They're like, all right, you're going to do that. We're going to get Ish Palmer out on the outside. We're going to get Jerome Lurie out on the outside, and you're not going to be able to catch them when they get out on the outside. And it was a ball rolling downhill. McDevitt's really banged up right now. And whenever I say that, I know people don't like hearing about Bishop.
There's no sympathy there.
Yeah, people say, oh, no, Bishop. But I don't care what team you're when you're missing 3 of your 5 starting offensive linemen and your number 1 wide receiver. It's not going to look as pretty as it can be. I didn't see Liam Fuller out there very much either. I think they've been using him a lot more as a blocker. I couldn't tell if he was hurt or not in this game. I was kind of more focused on the running attack, so I wasn't super locked in on that. Usually it's easy to tell if Liam Fuller's out there though, 'cause he's huge.
Yeah, he's big, 6'5".
Yeah, but they need to get healthy because what I saw was it was good that they won, and I think everyone played up to their potential. But they're going to have to, especially the defense, Central Dauphin wide receivers were getting behind the corner decent bit, and that can play in the mid-pen, maybe in the district title game. But if you're gonna want to beat this Roman Catholic, you got to shore up some of these, because I mean Roman Catholic, they have an argument for just being the best team in the state, period, regardless of classification. So McDevitt definitely has some things to shore up, but I kind of think that's where Jeff Wechter likes being at this time of the year, where you can, have some things that are coming later in the year that you can kind of work towards building as you get through the season. So we'll see. And I like some of the stuff Central Dauphin showed, but it's just, man, it just feels like they don't have enough. And it's frustrating because there is sometimes like Mark Levo plays tough. Brandon Cooper, I like him at wide receiver. I like Mason Woodger, but it just feels like they're a couple players short.
Yeah, that's what we've sort of been saying with the Rams all year is, it's such a strain to be successful, to kind of get to that point where they want to, and obviously they want to run the ball. They want to establish the tempo. They want to get comfortable. They don't want to obviously play in a shootout. And they have if you need 11 guys to do that on each side, there's about 8, 7 maybe on that side. And then if you chalk up a few injuries here and there, you kind of take a step backwards. But they are a hell of a lot better off now than they were 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I know it's only 3-5, and you're thinking, oh, they're 3-5. But realistically, there's a possibility because their schedule is so strong, 4-6 may get them in to the district, and they've got 2 difficult games left, but they're starting to show those signs. Maybe it's a little too late. I don't know, but yeah, I know it's been frustrating for Coach Mack to kind of get everybody on that same pace. But obviously they dug in with McDevitt for a long time in that one, so that's a good sign moving down the road for the last 2 weeks. I eventually got to Chapman Field for everybody knows the campus of Cumberland Valley High School. There are probably 70 or 80,000 slots to park, and every single slot was filled.
You don't even get that at the state championship games.
No, and they were up the hill to what's the middle school?
Eagleview.
Eagleview. They were up the hill. There's a lot of construction going up at Eagleview. I think they were parked next to the back.
I think they're building a rocket ship or something.
I don't know. It could be. They don't need the one thing they don't need is any more solar panels.
No,
that's for sure. But the goats were out eating the grass. That was good. But eventually, I made it to Chapman Field and saw Harrisburg's 21-16 win over the Eagles. This one won 0 beauty contests. For Harrisburg. Michael Shank, 4 interceptions on the day. I think you could probably eliminate blame from him maybe on half of those. One was tipped. Zayden Smith, the really good strong safety for Cumberland Valley, had 3 of those interceptions. But Harrisburg continued to just shoot themselves in the foot. And we're used to Cumberland Valley playing the Cougars tough.
It's the second straight year they've thrown 4 interceptions against Harrisburg.
Yeah, I mean they figure out a way to rise up, and of course
I think I've said this on the podcast before. I think they're just one of those teams this year where they might not win every game, but every game's going to be kind of close.
Well, talk about being short too. Tyler Merrill did not play, the Notre Dame line recruit. Elijah Sherman remains out. He's one of those versatile guys you could put in a bunch of different spots and give different looks on offense. And then, of course, Messiah Mickens is still out for Harrisburg. So, some of the shine off this was off this game because of your big recruits were not there. But I will say this. Cumberland Valley still has I'd say 60-40 chance to make it in. They're even behind Central Dauphin now. But they have a couple winnable games coming down. 5-5 certainly going to be enough to get them in. And for all the struggles offensively, if Cumberland Valley could just be in that 75 to 80 team rushing yards, some of these games would go the other way.
The running game
the running game just has not developed, and for all the passing that Colton Stamey's done, he's really a tough kid.
Yeah,
like he's taken hits, he can tuck it. He's played extremely well. I think he's done everything they've asked him to do. And there is just that 12 to 15 minute stretch where Cumberland Valley just vacates offensively. They just cannot get the punch. And obviously, Harrisburg's defense, we've talked about them all year. Mm-hmm. It's tough to make hay against those guys. So, anyway, 21-16 Harrisburg. They're now 8-0, sitting atop the District 3 6A power ratings, and obviously finding a way to win in an ugly game for them is obviously a great sign, an absolute great sign. All right, Dan, a couple more games real quick. Redland 23, Shippensburg. Surprised?
I wouldn't say surprise is the right term because I'm done being surprised by Redland.
Yeah, we should be. Yeah.
But I think it's a huge win because I was talking about this with someone else that when you see these teams, these surprise teams that start the year 5-0, every now and then you get one that starts 5-0, they lose their first game, and then everything starts to crater. Right. And Redland had lost 2 in a row, 2 tough, close games. And sometimes that can kind of crater your season, especially when you have a really tough third game after. All of a sudden, you go from thinking you're one of the top teams in the area to being 5-3 and fighting for playoff seeding. Mm-hmm. To come out there and beat a really good Shippensburg team and kind of beat them at their own game a little, kind of play, run the ball with your freshman running back and play really tough physical defense. I think that says a heck of a lot about this team. I think it says a heck of a lot about the culture Jamie Thomas has established at that program. That to me, you can talk X's and O's all you want, but the reason that team is 6-2 right now is because of the culture that Jamie Thomas has established. I think those kids. They might not say it openly, and maybe it's not. But I think that not winning games was kind of the expectation, right? Not maybe not the expectation, but it didn't feel bad to lose, right? And I am guessing that it felt really bad to lose.
That was like one of the question marks. Like I actually picked Shippensburg to win this game because I thought. I thought those last 2 weeks would tear in them a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Not that it would tear them apart, but just open up that crease a little bit of doubt. And maybe, this is the one that maybe they get the last 2, sneak into the playoffs. But I got to tell you, if Redland doesn't win that game, they're likely going to be struggling to make the postseason. Yeah. So now that they've beaten Shippensburg, and obviously got a really good effort at Tyson Kirchner, another good effort at Quinlan Shear offensively, and held Shippensburg to 7 points. There's a lot cooking on defense too. This was a really good sign, a really good bounce back sign for all the reasons that you just said. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was not sure if they had that. No. I know they showed a lot of gumption building that 5-0 and obviously say, hey, the things are differently. But when you get punched in the mouth twice, in a row, then the doubt starts to creep in. Obviously, that did not happen here against Shippensburg. So that was a really good win, 6-2 for the Redland Patriots. Middletown 14, East Penn 10. Surprised?
Yes, I am surprised.
I'm surprised. Yeah,
because I think one of the hallmarks of this East Pennsboro team over the last few years has been their ability to kind of take care of business. To kind of win the games. And I'm not saying Middletown was a rollover game.
No.
But it felt like a game that, East Penn looked like they, on paper, were the better team, the more complete team. And I just think this Middletown team is playing really, I don't want to say above their weight. That's wrong. But they're playing to their capabilities every single week, almost knocking off Lime Mountain last week. I've just been so impressed. I haven't covered a game this year, but even seeing kind of some of the clips, the huddle film of Nikias Zenon. I think he's in the mix to be an all-star, PennLive all-star wide receiver this year. He's been one of the most consistent game-to-game threats at the wide receiver position all year. I think he scored both TDs. And this is a team with a first-year coach in JJ Ortiz. Obviously, Scott Govern left to be the AD at Mannheim. So a big win for Middletown, and they're making that push to the playoffs now. And East Pennsboro still in pretty solid shape. Back-to-back losses never great, but they're usually a program that recovers from stuff like that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about John Dennis, the head coach at East Penn. I've used the word grit a lot when talking about East Pennsboro, because that's when push comes to shove and games are on the line, like a John Denniston coached football team shows grit. Maybe they don't win every single one, but you know they're going to play to the whistle to the final whistle. So Middletown is a lot like that, And you mentioned Zena, and you met Harrison Ortiz, their quarterback, is a really big gamer, and sometimes it doesn't look pretty with them. I mean, I've seen Middletown twice now in person. I've seen possessions just look like absolute garbage. And then I've seen possessions where they've just willed it down the field. Gavin Paul's another guy, running back, who's been tremendous for them too. And the offensive line is not the biggest, but they push and they grow at you. There's a lot of grit on that football team.
Yeah.
And I would be the first to admit, at this point of the season, I never would have thought Middletown would be 4-4, would be sitting there at 500. Never would have believed it.
No.
So the fact that they are, congrats to them. Obviously, some work to be done yet to make it to the second season, but we'll talk about that in a little bit too. The big game over the weekend, Dan, was in Class 4A. We had been talking about this Twin Valley rolling into Wyomissing for weeks and weeks and weeks. 2 top 5 programs, top 6 programs, I should say. I believe entering the week, I had Twin Valley 6, Wyomissing 4 in 4A. And the Raiders, I didn't wear my hat today. I didn't wear my Twin Valley hat today. I figured that, right? I figured that might be a little bit of overkill, but it is in the truck, ready to be worn after this. 28-6, Twin Valley rolls into Wyomissing on a Saturday afternoon, and the very difficult task of taking out the Spartan, who were sort of beaten at their own game in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this game really kind of shakes up the tendency I hold in this class.
It does.
It's like you always just kind of say until you see someone do something to Wyomissing. Now it really opens the door to saying, hey, Twin Valley, probably when you win a game like this, it's hard to not put them as the favorite.
Yep.
And then you also have to look at Susquehanna Township and say, man, if they're ever going to do it, this is the year to really do it, right? It's like, because Susquehanna Township, another huge win over a game that might not look big to some, but Big Spring was number 1 in 3A a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And Torrin Evans threw for 400 yards and ran for another 100 in that game. There might not be a better quarterback playing better in the entire district than Torrin Evans right now. It's fascinating because, for so many years, you can kind of pencil in that trip post-Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually me, because I'm back in Philadelphia, so it's on the way back. Going to Wyomissing on a Saturday to watch some championship football.
Yep.
Definitely can't write that in pen this year.
No, that's always a Saturday play. Absolutely, at one point or another. But it baffles me. It doesn't baffle me because obviously Twin Valley's a great program, but 26 carries for 200 yards. That was Drew Engel in this game, 2 TDs. So he ran for 200 yards against Wyomissing, who obviously is notoriously difficult to run against consistently. And then Lucas Myers had 74 more yards. That's 274 rushing yards from 2 guys.
You don't usually get that against Wyomissing.
I have never seen that. No. I don't think I've ever seen that from any team because typically you would try to press outside,
But then the flip side might be the bigger deal than even the rushing yards.
Right, exactly.
Which is that
they only gave up 2 field goals.
Yeah, and
this game.
And specifically limiting Justice Hardy to 20 yards?
He had 22 yards. Yeah. They only got 7 carries, but I'm sure that's...
But that's part of it, right?
That's part of it, exactly.
Part of the way to make sure, and you can talk to, fans of Penn State with, talk about their running back usage, everything. Part of the way to limit players is to make sure they don't touch the football.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, and we didn't mention the fourth part of that equation in 4A, Lampeter Stroudsburg. Twin Valley now hosts LS this week.
That's
a big 1-2 punch. You got to celebrate and get right back to work.
I'm sure that's what Brett Myers likes, is that they're not following up with a trap game.
Coach Myers loves it.
Yeah,
he loves digging in. I'm sure Sunday morning he was probably sitting in his.
He's probably
sitting at some little desk,
probably looking through all the picks, making sure he can find one to pick.
That's one with those little old school lights to flick on at the top.
Oh yeah,
making his game plan.
Some quill and ink.
Yeah, he's not a quill and ink kind of guy. That's for sure. All right, we promised to steer back to the District 3 power ratings. We love the formula. We're not going to explain it to you because hell, even we don't understand.
I think it's touchdowns divided by field goals.
It's your weighted winning percentage, which counts for 55%, and then your opponent's weighted winning percentage, which counts for 45% of the formula. It knocks out a six-digit, a decimal 6-digit number, and that's how you basically stack up in your classification. Where the volatility comes in, and this is key. Obviously, winning is important. You go 10-0, that's valuable real estate, right?
Yeah.
But where the volatility in this formula comes in is your opponent's schedule, which shifts every single week. You cannot look at it and say, okay, well, this team is 6 and this team is 4-3, and we beat them at 4-3. So that equals a certain part. No, when you play them, if they're 6-3, that matters, and who they play matters. So that's where your shift really comes in. Obviously, 9-1 is typically better than 8-2, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I think that's the part of the formula that most people don't know where these crazy shifts can come into play. So we talked about 6A a little bit. We talked about Central Dauphin's chances, Cumberland Valley's chances. Obviously, getting to that 5-5 mark will get them in. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little harder to do that for Central Dauphin, I think, with the remaining schedule than it is for Cumberland Valley. But still, no, you don't get any gimmies in the Commonwealth, i.e. Chambersburg's 4-4, and inside 3 spots ahead of those two teams.
Yeah.
So Harrisburg obviously is fighting for the top overall seed at 8-0. You've got a newcomer to the Commonwealth, Cedar Cliff, I think is a surprise for both of us. They're at 4-4.
And you know what, Cedar Cliff, why they're there?
Grit,
and outside of the Redland game, which I think is no longer, you really can't classify as them not taking it.
Right.
They have taken care of the games that they needed to take care of. I think when you're in this Commonwealth spot right now, you really don't like boiling it down like this, but it's like you kind of, if you're one of these second-tier teams, you just kind of have to pencil in, we're going to lose 3. Like, you don't want to say that out. The coaches would never say that out loud.
But I mean, there's teams that are building toward the future. I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough season for Tyshawn Pollard and CD East.
But you have to win. You have to win these other 50-50 games. And
yes.
Cedar Cliff has won the Central Dauphin game. They've won the CD East game. They won the Chambersburg game. And those are the games that kind of you look at the schedule, and it's really going to come down to I don't even know if it will come down to the Cumberland Valley game. It might not if they beat Altoona, but that's not it. These are the type of games that they've won this year that have put them in the position.
See, Altoona was 2-6 right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help you as much as it should. Mm-hmm. But again, it will help.
And that's
winning the game helps you the most.
They're 2-6 too because they're a better football team.
They're better than 2-6.
So it's a tough game that doesn't help you that much.
Exactly. Tough. All right, let's slide to Class 5A, Dan. A little bit more concerned for some of these teams here. All of these teams, with the exception of Lower Dauphin, are inside the cut line right now. You got top 12 that go. Lower Dauphin is sitting there at number 14 at 5-3. So they have the most work to do. It does appear like Shippensburg and Hershey, with one more win, are going to be locked in. There is a mathematical situation that they might not. One of those might not at 7-3, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
McDevitt's in. Obviously, it's 6-2. Mechanicsburg is in, and Redland has played their way in with that big win over Shippensburg last week. So the kicker here, the X factor, I believe, is going to be Manheim Central. They're sitting there in the 12th and final spot right now. So if they can fetch 2 more wins, it may make it a lot more difficult for Lower Dauphin to steal it.
That would be a real shame for Lower Dauphin because that is a good football team.
Yes.
And that is a team that I talked to Josh Borelli after the game Saturday. He pointed out he's 100% right. They have not been out of any football game this year.
Right.
25-21, 14-6, 23-20. Those are their 3 losses.
Yep.
I was at that game on Saturday and watching Hunter Strom. I told Josh Borelli, he's like, so he had 39 carries, and Josh said, "Oh, I didn't realize it's that much," but he just always comes and tells me I can take whatever you
just keep going.
I didn't even realize until talking to some people that he's also a hockey player. I
do not want to get. I don't want to go in a hockey rink with him.
And it's always fun talking to Hunter because off the field he's like the most mild mannered, like nice, easy to talk to kid. He is physical and tough as heck, and it would be a real shame if his career ended in week 10 as a football player rather than getting them into the playoffs. But it is that just tells you how tough this class is. There's just so many teams bunched up in that 14 spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously winnable games. Waynesboro left, Gettysburg left. No offense, but those 2 games that Lower Dauphin should win.
Yeah, they are missing their starting quarterback. They've been playing Tyler Newman.
Yeah, Braden Heckard is out right now. Tyler Newman, correct?
Yeah,
Newman came in to QB. But yeah, and if you're actually an opponent, sitting there in 5A2, you want to go up against a team like that too. That's gonna, as soon as the weather breaks and it gets colder and colder, teams are going to run the ball. You're going to have to be forced to defend the running ball. So it's not like there's no really second guessing what Lower Dauphin wants to do offensively. So I'm not saying they're easy to game plan because Hunter Strom kind of breaks that up, but it's a good thing to play against a running football team if you want to go deep in these things. So check out 5A. 5A is going to be very interesting. 4A may be the best, maybe the most fun. We talked a lot about it earlier in the show here. Hannah's already in. West Perry has played themselves in at 6-2.
Yeah, how about West Perry? Just another
amazing.
Ho-hum. Bob Bowden just has that team playing well every single year now.
Amazing. I got to talk to Bob after the East Pennsboro win at East Pennsboro.
Yeah.
And I just said 6-1, huh? And he was like, yeah, how about that? How about it?
The exact expression you made is how I can imagine.
Exactly. It was just like, and we talked about, some guys filling in. And that was when they made.
It's so surprising that they're banged up too.
That was just when they had to make the move at quarterback to get Mason in there and pull Jupa back to fullback. And they became a more cohesive offense. And, they'll give up some points here and there. But again, Bowden always has those guys well prepared, and that's huge. 6-2 for them. Teams that still need some work to do. Middletown, we mentioned at 4-4. East Penn now at 4-4, and of course Greencastle's sort of the outlier. They need a lot of help. They need a couple of wins and a bunch of help at 3-5. But they're not mathematically out of it either. So we'll see how it goes through. But the Blue Devils, I think they could try. 10 teams make 4A. So, if they can somehow get a victory over West Perry, which is going to be tough, who knows? They could still be in mix. Not a lot of drama in 3A or 2A or 1A. 3A, Trinity and Big Spring have played their way in. Big Spring is currently number 4. They take 6. So both of those teams are really good. There's really no other Mid-Penn team in the mix. There's a huge drop between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So that field is almost complete with the exception of where they're going to wind up final seeding, which is important because you're going to have buys.
Yeah.
So you want to get in one of those top 2 to go. And obviously 2A, Steel High and Halifax are in. Newport is almost in. Lancaster Catholic sits there at 4. I think Newport could potentially steal the 2 seed. It doesn't feel like anybody's going to replace the Rollers atop.
Yeah, well, the issue with Newport is they've got Steel High week 10.
They do have Steel High in week 10, yeah. But you know what? They win that game, then obviously they're probably already been locked in by the time they get to that game, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I also just, I think Steel High kind of, it's easy to overlook them, but man, I just think it hasn't been an easy season for them, but for them to be playing every game on the road, it's like, I imagine it's just been a really tough year for them to kind of not know where they're working and practicing each and every week. And
listen, I mean, obviously a former player was just recently killed.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's just tough. I don't know how they keep focused, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a credit to Coach Irby.
Yeah. I think he's a special kind of guy that can get kind of locked in on.
Yeah, I agree. And and what's often lost too is that coaching staff has been with him forever.
Yeah.
They've been around these kids since they were playing Smurfs, So to have that consistency and have those kind of father figures all around them when they're on the field or off the field or whatever, guys that they can talk to. Kids can talk to and relate to.
They also had a coach recently pass away from ALS as well.
Coach Chiz was unbelievable with them. You know, he used to be in the weight room with those guys all the time, every day.
Yeah.
So you know, that's something you don't get at a lot of programs. You don't get that kind of loyalty. So 1A, of course, zero drama. We have 2 teams. Those 2 teams, DeLone Catholic and York Catholic, are headed for the championship round.
I'm cashing my ticket in Vegas.
Did you take DeLone Catholic to make the championship?
No, I actually picked the exact matchup correctly. It was minus.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Minus 10,000. So
we'll have to pick a final score. Yeah. The interesting part is they tangle in week 10 as well to end the regular season, and then go right in and play championship.
Play all your backups? Like, what do you do? Like,
I wouldn't show them. I mean, listen, it's not like they don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try to hide whatever you're going to try to do a week later.
I would run. I'd actually maybe go the opposite. I'd run all trick plays all week 10, and then
I would just onside kick all the time. In week 10, and then just kick it deep. They can start at the 20.
That's incredible. Whoever A+ to the schedule.
Well, it's not. They traditionally do play that game in week 10.
Yeah.
And we have had more than 2 teams in 1A in the past. So, but it's no picnic. Whoever wins the district title goes to a sub-regional game.
Yeah.
Has a good chance to actually win the sub-regional. If it's Belmont Charter, which we think it will be, Belmont Charter just happens to be 8-0. Playing really good football.
Yeah.
So there you have it. So that's a quick glance at District 3. We'll revisit it a little bit next week because obviously there's only 1 week to go. Teams have until October 25th. Obviously, that's after week 10 to shore up their power rating, get ready for the playoffs. Cannot believe, dude, week 9, we are starting the second half of the entire season. The race to Chapman Field continues. Get out there and watch football. You need to bundle up now. It's going to be 50, 40 degrees. We had a frost warning the other night.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. It's like, come on. There's no ramp up period. It just immediately gets cold now.
By the way, I meant to mention this too, but before we go, indulge me. I like auctions. Mm-hmm. I'm a big auction guy. Mm-hmm. So for some reason, up in my thing popped something that caught my interest as I was working on state rankings. Mm-hmm. You've been talking to somebody on your cell phone, and then up on Facebook pops some subject that you were talking about. And you're thinking, the government's listening.
Yeah.
And they're tailoring now these ads to me. Mm-hmm. Like my mom once called me and said, "Hey, Eric, can you find me a recipe for a good recipe for banana bread?" Right? Mm-hmm. And I went on Facebook and boom, banana bread came up. And I'm like, this is evil.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, so I'm doing it and I type in Shamokin. I'm working on state rankings. Shamokin is ranked in 4A. That's a hell of a program. They're giant up front. Anyway, what pops up in my feed? Some guy is selling Shamokinopoly, an actual Monopoly set from 1989 called Shamokinopoly. It looks fabulous.
We might have to get that. Just play it on the podcast.
Well, I didn't buy it because it was $75. The guy wants $75 for. I'm like, listen, I'll give you 10, but I'm going around the thing, right? And the it's done by the Shamokin Chamber of Commerce.
That's pretty
Tourism Chambers of Commerce, right? Back in 1989. And the one railroad is a Burger King ad. The other railroad is a dental facility in Shamokin. The other one is a law firm, like Hattis and Hattis Law Firm or Mathis and Mathis Law Firm. Sounds made up, actually. And the other railroad is actually a hairdresser. So it's all companies in Shamokin on the board.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I didn't look who owns Park Place and Boardwalk yet.
Probably the football stadium.
And you don't go to jail. You're in court. It says court.
Because probably not jail there, right?
There might not be. I don't know, but it's actually court. And then on the rims, it has law offices that you could call to get you out of court. It's fabulous. Yeah, I'll text you the picture of it.
I remember there was a Pitopoly, but I think Shamokinopoly defeats.
That's what I mean. Like there have been like San Francisco, big cities have their version. Shamokinopoly. I've never seen it.
All right, so we're challenging some mid-Penn schools. How about make your own? How about we get a?
Wouldn't that be fabulous? Like, listen, nobody plays board games anymore.
Oh, right? That's not true. That's
really
no. They're huge now.
Serious?
Yeah.
I gave all my board games away. I had like 35 of them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Settlers of Catan, all those games, like it's one of those things that's had a huge resurgence. But yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. But anyway, this one looks fabulous. I will text you and Merlin are the actual picture of it.
And we're challenging. We could get a steel Monopoly. We
should have a steel Monopoly. Didn't Hershey have one? Wasn't there a Hershey one?
There had to have been maybe it might have been like about the chocolate bars.
This is terrific. The only thing I didn't see is what the pieces were.
Yeah.
What the game pieces were. I would have liked to have seen that in the advertising.
Smoking, so I can't guess.
But I'm not forking over 75. Maybe I make them an offer.
Yeah.
Maybe I just make
25.
Lowball them.
25. How many people are offering? Probably
exactly.
A lot. Probably a lot on it.
I don't know, but it's fabulous. Anyway, but there's probably some good ads on there too.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. So listen, beware of the phone, what you're saying.
But it also will bring you, but it's good. It brought you Shimokanopoli.
It brought me Shimokanopoli, and I obviously have a really good recipe for banana bread. If anybody wants it. Shoot me a text.
Yeah, we'll sample it on next week.
There you go. Yeah. All right. For Dan Sosika, I'm Eric Epler. Thanks for visiting PA High School Football Report podcast. Come back and see us next week.